Toilet here in case of emergency you can use it.
Rain
and then we will passing Passau. Passau is known as a three rivers city because right at this point all of these three rivers meet each other. So we have Inn over that side, and then this is Danube, and then this one is Ilz. They all have very distinct colors. So Ilz have very dark brown kind, or maybe towards black color. Inn has a green, light green color, and then you know the color of Danube, obviously. Yeah.
Lots of farmland, lots of solar panels. Huge lumber yard. We saw one yesterday too. Haven't seen this much lumber since we left Canada. Churches are always found on the highest ground in the area.
The corn here, it's not used for human, but most of the houses, they have solar power panels on their roofs, and so here we had a problems because of the war, like Russia, and they didn't give us oil.
And here's a great big one. Farmers are paid to lease their land for solar farms. Seen very many wind turbines. There's a couple up there. Traffic sign had a little diagram and showed two cars smashing together with the warning that there was an accident ahead. Looking here, I'd say half to 2/3 of the vehicles on this road are trucks. These big trucks are not allowed in the left-hand lane, and someone with a translator saw that what is going on is construction. This has been going on for miles.
Valhalla. So
Valhalla.
It means a hall. So it's a hall of fame, and it's in Roman style, and it was built by Ludwig I. And in Valhalla we have 130 sculptures of important German-speaking men and women. And so they didn't have to be German; they just have to speak German. And Valhalla is not that loved by Germans because Hitler had one of his biggest speeches there, and yeah, so they don't like it that much.
We would never have known this is a big city with lots of industry. If we'd been on the river, we wouldn't have seen any of this. Past a bunch of factories and stuff, and these are all businesses. A lot of industry. The old section is going to seem like Disneyland after this industrial modern city. This section is not the old Regensburg. These buildings are only 200 years old. A century the Romans had left, and the Celts and the descendants of the Romans
History excites me very
became
much, so sometimes I forget what I wanted to say.
Beer garden that was associated with the Spital or hospital next door. Each person in the hospital got a liter of beer a day. This bridge was built in the 12th century in about 12 years, and that was fast. They decided it was the devil's work. The stone man of the bridge was built in the 12th century.
So he racks his brains for the rest of the night what to do, and in the end he says, wait a minute, the devil never said anything about human souls, did he? He just said souls. And so the Brookmandel sent two chicken and a dog across the bridge first, which means that the mayor, the bishop, and the duke were saved. And I'm wondering sometimes if that was the right decision to preserve food, especially meat found around Regensburg. It had to be mined in Austria, close to a city called Salzburg, and there you have the word salt in the name already. So the salt was mined down there, brought up the river to Regensburg, and then stored here, and you can still see the salt in the beam 20, and some of the beams have been replaced. You will easily be able to recognize them. They look very modern, but these are still the original structures. And now, when they built the salt barn, so this one is only 400 years old, but they have been selling sausages and food to guests in Regensburg for the last 200 years. They're quite famous for it. And they make all the food themselves, including the sausages, the buns, the sauerkraut, the mustard. So I can vouch for the fact that the food is good. Zum Mitnehmen. It means a bun with some sausages, sauerkraut and mustard to go. So mitnehmen.
This is the stone bridge. The points here are to break down the ice. But that was a long time ago. No more.
Johann Wolfgang von Goethe was the most famous German poet ever. Did Goethe live there? No. Was he born there? No. He stayed there for exactly one night. Very relaxed. He thinks nothing can happen to him. That's why he rests his arm up there on the windowsill, the way he does. But in a minute, he's going down. Now this painting is from the 16th century. The building itself is much older than that. It's from the 13th century. If you look at the windows, some of them have these typical pointed arches, which stand for the Gothic style. And the Gothic style was built here from the 13th to the 15th century. This is an early version, so we know it's 13th century.
Tower of the old town hall. Look at this tower. Gorgon Tower. These towers are common in northern Italy, like San Gimignano.
Because I think it's a very Mediterranean concept. It means that there was no wall to the front of the building. The whole second floor was open and you could entertain guests there or enjoy your food or red wine or whatever. Which is a very brilliant idea if you live in northern Italy where it's nice and warm the whole year round. Not so much in Germany. Half of the year it is pretty cold around here, which is why after a while they realized their mistake and started to close the loggias off again. So today in each one of the towers you either find a balcony like that or sometimes just the indication of the arch where the opening to the loggia used to be. There was nothing inside of it in the Middle Ages. The tower was not a place to live in. The family always lived in the building next to the tower. The tower was merely another way to show off the wealth of the family. This is the statue of Don Juan. Now, I know you all, of course, think about Don Juan, the famous lover. I'm afraid that's not the Don Juan. His full name was Don Juan d'Austria, which means John of Austria, if you translate it to English. Now, he is wearing quite fancy pants because he lived in the 16th century, and that was the fashion at the time. And he's holding a telescope in his right hand and a sword in his left hand because he was a famous war hero in the 16th century.
Juan of Austria is best known for his role as the admiral of the Holy League fleet of the Catholic powers of the Spanish Empire and the Italian maritime powers. At the sea battle of Lepanto in 1571, they inflicted a major defeat on the fleet of the Ottoman Empire.